In this video, I will go through a number of keys we have in relational database models. So before we start with that, we need to know why we need to have a key. So if you recall that each tuple in a relation should be uniquely identified in order to make our relation or entity valid. So we have to select an attribute or set of attributes which are uniquely identified. We have number of keys which are available. So some of the attributes which will identify number of key, a different type of keys. So we have to identify if we have two attributes, it may be belong to maybe a super key, maybe candidate key. Whenever we talk about the primary keys, it will be one primary key only then. So I will discuss further about where exactly we'll have one attribute and where we have two attributes or three attributes which are considered as a key. So let's go ahead with that. The first one is a super key. So whenever we saying a super key are the keys or attributes which are uniquely identified. We can have one key or maybe we can have multiple keys here. So if we look at employee relation, so we have a relation called as an employee here, which consists of two primary keys, two unique keys, which means employee ID, which will be also, we can consider that each employee will have only one ID. If we talk about SSN, which is a social security number, each employee will have a unique social security numbers. He will not have a same social, they will not have a same social security numbers, which means that it can be considered as a primary keys. The super keys are mainly we can consider as maybe there is one job posting. Let's say, let's look at the scenarios where we have number of candidates there, right? So if we are interviewing 40 or 50 people, among them we will select only five of them. And those five candidates which we have selected based on their unique correctness, right? Based on their unique characteristics. So these are super key. We can write a super key as employee ID and SSN. We are using it as a combination of it. So it is a super key. Now we have second key called as a candidate key. From the super key, we will derive a candidate key. Okay. So which means, for example, if you have employee and relation, we have the same keys here. But here we will identify each of a key, a super key as a separate key. There we have considered it as a one key, two unique attribute as a one key. Here we're considering it as a two separate attributes and two separate keys. Okay. So if we look at the same scenario which I have given, that we have a job posting, we have selected a five candidates based on their unique characteristics. So now in the candidate key, initially we had a list of them. Now let's say it was round one of the interview, and now we are going for the round two. So we have to take each of the keys or each of the candidate which we have selected earlier, and we will investigate further by having more interviews, maybe verify their credentials, their degree, their skills, and so on. There are a number of things we can consider in second round of the interviews. Maybe we can ask them to have certain demonstration or to have some training, maybe, and based on that training, we can identify whether they will be able to succeed or not. So here, for example, here we have employee ID and SSN ID. We have to, based on this candidate, we need to select only one ID, which will be considered as a unique ID or a primary key. Let's dig deep into it. So if we look at employee ID is more appropriate or best attribute which can retrieve the information, because it is more related to an employee itself rather than a social security number. Now we have a primary key. Whenever we say the primary key, we say that should not be null and it should be unique as well. So let's look at the relation schema here. We have customer. This customer consists of primary key and the others are attributes. Okay. Now for the composite key. Whenever we say the composite key, it is also called as compound key or concatenated keys, which means we will have two keys as a compound in specific relationship. So if you look at the enrollment, it is linked to something called as relation, something called as a student and a course, which means we have two IDs here. Based on these two IDs, we'll be able to retrieve the information about the enrollment, because we will have each student ID should be unique and the course ID should be unique as well. Okay, both combination of these two IDs will provide or uniquely identify the each involvement in the uh, in the school or in the institute or the universities. Now we have something called as a foreign keys. These foreign keys we have mentioned earlier. Whenever we have two relation tables or two relation or tables and both of them are linked to each other, we need to have a foreign key. So here we have two tables, customer and order. We have a primary keys here and foreign key here. So if we look at customer and order, one customer can place one order or one customer can place multiple orders. I'm reading from customer to order now. Okay, this direction now. So which means, let's say you went to a restaurant. In the restaurant, you may have placed your order. Maybe you have ordered a burger. So, first of all, you said that one burger will be enough for you as a one meal. But later, maybe you want to add another drink into it. So, first, you place one order. Okay. So, you are one customer and you have placed one order. But later on, you want to add something or you want a drink or maybe you want another drink, so you will went back to the cashier or to the went back to the restaurant and you place an order for your drink as well, so which make your one customer as a one customer you have placed a multiple orders. Now let's read from the order to customer. One order is belong to one customer. Okay, so if we look at from order to customer, whatever a burger you have ordered, it is belong to you only, right? So it is one to one. Same for one order. Is it possible to belong to multiple customers? It is possible, but as if we are thinking about it in terms of databases, it is not possible. Because whenever you place an order, you will place only one order which can be belong to multiple people, but you have paid only once as a one invoice. So it will be only one. Okay. So relation here will be one to many. Okay. Between customer to order. So in order to link both of them together, we need to have a foreign key in between. So we have a foreign key as a customer ID here. So how to place a customer ID and which entity we will discuss further in ERD diagram, ERD topic in upcoming weeks. Okay. So now let's look at the secondary keys. Sometimes we have a primary key, but we want to make a data retrieval more strictly or more easy to more easily accessible. So we need to identify another attribute as a key as well. So for example, here we have a book which consists of ISBN. Each book have ISBN as a unique ID and a genre. And why we have selected a genre as a key, because we want to make are retrieval faster or frequent. So this is called as a secondary key. This is, as a database administrator, we will decide whether we want to consider it as a secondary key or not. Now we have something called as surrogate keys, which is also as its name is, as it says, a surrogate, which means it is artificial key. Sometimes we do not want to create each keys by itself. We want it to be created by the system automatically. So we will automatically create a surrogate key. So it is called as a surrogate keys. So sometime if you can look at this example, so we have a product key here which is automatically generated by the system such as 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. So this is system generated key and it is called as a surrogate keys.